Our next speaker is Rowena and Nathan. Are you doing it together?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Rowena used to work with us in Bournemouth University, and she used to do our website. It's not her fault, our website, but since then we've done a fantastic job, and now with Nathan they've developed the Dorset Creative, and they're doing very interesting online applications, and they are streaming for us today, and they are working with us as partners.
Does it still work?
1, 2, 3. We're just going to play a quick video to start with. Excellent, we've got a microphone now. Okay, so we've got a quick 10-minute slot to talk about innovation in mobile apps. As Dimitrios just said, this is Rowena, my name's Nathan. So first of all, who are we and why are we giving this talk?
We are. Is this working? Yes, it is. We're just a digital agency based in Dorset, and we do a range of digital services from bespoke software, website design, through to mobile apps. And that's why Dimitrios has asked us to come here today, really, to talk about the mobile apps. That's just a list of what we do. So, basically, Apple launched their Apple Store in 2008, and there have been over 50 billion unique app downloads since 2008. And what's interesting is, last year, over 20 billion of those happened, and that shows the increase in mobile app usage.
And just some other points to add to that as well. On the app side of things, this is just with Apple, so we're not talking about Android. The Google Play Store or Amazon, which as well is just phenomenal, the amount of apps on there and downloads. Apple started with 800 apps back in 2008, and obviously now there's so many with 500 million active user accounts. So it really is an important thing. If you get something right and get it out there, people will use it, and this is the way that everyone is going towards. So we're just going to talk about some of the recent sort of where we're going, really. And is this you or me?
I can't remember if it's you or me, but I can talk about it if you want. Yeah, so where are we going? I mean, mobile apps have been around since 2008, really, but what really people get excited about are things like gamification, which can that's used more in the sort of occupational industry. It's things to make your email more exciting, but also exercise. There's a zombie app, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but it's like a game and you can run away from zombies and you collect points and things, and that's really exciting. Also, augmented reality is a massive topic of discussion. Everyone seems to get excited around augmented reality, but that can basically be your wow factor. I don't know whether anyone's seen, there's a stargazing app out there, and basically you can hold your iPad around and it'll show you all the stars and all the different constellations. And then there's also geotagging, and these are only a few things that we're picking out for you to just think about today. But geotagging, for example, you can put in a to-do list and say you've forgotten your milk, and you can say where that shop is you can buy your milk from, and when you go near that shop, can tell you to remind you to buy your milk and things like that. So it just makes life a bit more convenient.
Yeah, I think someone else mentioned earlier about the push notifications. And if you've got an app, a shopping app, for example, on one of your devices, as you're walking along, it knows where you are. It knows what you want because it can see in your list of to-dos, and it tells you you're next to Tesco. And by the way, the milk's 2p cheaper than Asda. And sending those sorts of things to your customers, it's that instant it's at your fingertips. Okay, I'll do that. And believe it or not, I do love running, and I love my Nike Plus app. And I even got up on my birthday, especially early, to go for a run because you got a special badge, and it's called the Extra Frosted, just for that one reason, and also to beat your friends who are also on there. Obviously, there's a lot of apps out there that are absolutely fantastic, and we're just going to pick out just a couple of apps to talk about how it uses this technology. Yeah,
so 3 top apps. I mean, these apps have been around for a long time, so it's not really anything revolutionary, but it's just the popularity that is the reason why they're in our presentation today. Wikitude World Browser, that's using augmented reality, but basically it's centered on your location. So it pulls information to the user based upon where they are, and it uses image recognition technology to sort of place that in their reality on your iPad or on your mobile phone.
Yeah, I think definitely with that one, we were going to do a demo, but we didn't have an input to put it in to put it up there today.
It basically pulls information from a lot of information from Wikipedia, and one of the things about Wikitude is that it's user-generated content, so you can get your information onto Wikitude just by putting a Wikipedia page up there and putting a location into your Wikipedia page. So that's why it's exciting, because you can actually get traffic through this application. And also users can search by different areas in tourism, like places to eat, sites, places to stay, so that they're actually focused on looking for that information. And
with Wikitude, it uses the geotagging, the information, where's the information, it has the pictures and videos, it's the whole of Wikipedia in your phone. It uses the built-in camera of the phone, and as you move it around the streets, it shows you the nearest shop is here, the nearest hairdresser is there. Hairdresser is one that I don't use anymore, but...
Why?
Moving on to another app, which is... there are a few out there like this. It's a translation app, a direct speaking one.
Yeah, so this one, I'm not very good at pronouncing it. Jibigo, is it? Basically, it uses bidirectional technology, which allows you to have a conversation with somebody else. You could be somewhere abroad and the other person speaks to the side and you're speaking to one side. You can have a full conversation through this application. And the thing about this one is that you can use it offline. If you upgrade because the app's actually free, but if you upgrade to whichever language you're looking at, if you want to be able to use it offline, it downloads the words and the languages, basically, the language package. And so you don't have to rely on data roaming. And it brings your data roaming costs down. So that's why it's popular.
But that another one, if you've got time to download one of these apps and give it a go, it really is amazing. You can just have a two-way conversation with someone else in a different language. You have a go, you press it, you say what you want to say, it speaks it in the other language, and the other person can then hold the button down and record it, and it speaks it back to you.
I did have a go with it, but it didn't get my name. And so when I was trying to use my name is Rowena, it kept saying Marina, which is a little bit frustrating. But aside from that, it was very good.
And I suppose, why are we getting these sorts of apps now? And that's because we've all got supercomputers in our pockets. And if anyone remembers back in 10, 15 years ago, when the first voice translator apps, or the first voice recognition apps, not apps, bits of software were available on Windows, they were slow, cumbersome, they didn't recognise who you were, what you were saying, and you needed quite a fast computer to use it. But it's only going to get better. And with this, I don't know if there's this specific app, but apps like this were used in the tsunami by aid workers to try and help translate what people were saying. What was wrong with them? Is anyone else stuck? And these apps were used live in the field to great effect.
It was this application itself that peaked during the Japanese tsunami because the aid workers were using it so much to get their conversations going with the people who needed their aid. So.
But moving on as well, we had another third app to talk about, but we decided to completely replace the third app with Google Glass and really talking about wearable technology and where that's going. And also bringing in a little bit from the voice translation app. If you can imagine now, and I picked this picture from Google, it shows it can translate straight from a market stall and tell you what it is that's being sold in that language onto the screen. But when it'll get to the point where we could all, if got wearable technology on, and you can have a conversation with someone else, and it's streamed directly back through to you, through to your ear. And I think there was some study that said in 100 years we'll all speak sort of between English and Chinese. I don't think that'll be the case anymore, because everyone will be able to converse in any language with each other with this wearable technology. And as well, with wearable technology, there are developing now electronic eyepieces to put on your eye that can measure patients while they're in hospital. So it is getting further, the technology is getting better, microchips are getting smaller, and we will get to the point where we've got those sort of everyday wearable tattoos with all our data on and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, Motorola have just launched a bit of research which isn't available to get, but they basically, it's a tablet that you can swallow, and your stomach acid powers it. And basically, it can emit your passwords so that your devices near you will pick up your password and it'll just let you in. That's where we're going with it. So it's incredible.
But also with the sort of the Google Glass and the wearable technology, it'll become less about using your fingers on a screen, and it's more about gesture control. And if anyone, there's a great TED talk from a few years ago with a guy with a little projector on his T-shirt, and he was telling it to take pictures and things like that. And that's the way it's going, sort of away from pressing things with your fingers. So one question that we're sort of posing is, are you ready to go mobile? If you are, fantastic. If you're not, how can you get there? There are three main options for you to get mobile on the internet, and that's through responsive design. I've picked EasyJet because they just relaunched some of their apps, and the way that you can act with them online, whether it's through tablets or on your desktop computer. Currently, I think out there, when you're on the web, if you go and search for a website and it comes up on your phone or your iPad and it doesn't work, you generally click back unless you really want to persevere with a design that doesn't fit to your screen. Now we've got something in our hand that gives us access to data instantly. It needs to be instant, whatever it is that we're looking at. Responsive design is a way of changing what you currently have on the internet, so when you resize the screen, it automatically resizes the website to the user's device. But the problem with that is when you're out and about, you might want different information. So, like with EasyJet, they've created a mobile site. Yeah,
I mean, basically the point of having the difference between responsive design and like the full site and a mobile site is because user behavior when you're out and about, you don't want all of that information, and you don't want to try and find the information you're looking for, having to scroll through lots of different things. And also, if the full website isn't optimized for touchscreens, for example, it can get very frustrating. So a mobile site instead can pull up the information that users need to use on the move. And I mean, 90% of mobile interaction in mobile sites end up in a phone call. So usually you have the phone number right there and you can click and just call, because that's what mobile users want to be able to do. So it's just about thinking about your user whilst they're remote and what kinds of things that from your business they need from you whilst they're on the move.
And constant monitoring as well, using something like Google Analytics. EasyJet will have made the decisions what the users want immediately at their fingertips, straight away on the home screen when they come to our website. These are the four things. You can get all the other information, but that's generally when you go to the EasyJet mobile site, that's the information that you want. But also, the other option is to create dedicated apps for phones and devices, which essentially, as you'll see there, it's very, very similar to the mobile site. And some people pose the question, well, what's the difference between dedicated apps and mobile sites that work really well with the phones? Well, with a mobile app, it's downloaded straight onto the user's device. So it's much quicker than using a mobile site. It's there, it's instant, and it has offline parts of it as well. So you don't necessarily have to be online all the time to use that dedicated app. And again, with push notifications. So if someone's driving down the M1, it can say, oh, you're near the airport, we have a special offer flying from East Midlands today. So it's been able to tell customers, when you want to, information about your company, special offers, things like that. Rowena, anything else?
Yeah, that's it really, yeah. So, I mean, if you want the next slide. Which option would you take? Well, really, you should take all three, because you have different people who like to use different things, and you need to try and satisfy all of your audiences. So
And I suppose the most cost-effective way of converting a whole business or website into mobile-friendly in the first instance is with the responsive design, because there's obviously quite expanding costs with responsive design versus mobile website versus dedicated applications. And I think it goes in that order, the price goes up. And if you want to build in augmented reality with the cameras and locations and geotagging, all that sort of things, then it will obviously get more and more expensive. So depending on your customers and your research, it's really an option that you need to try and take all of them. You need to cater for everyone's needs. And when wearable technology comes out, it will be a case that we need to start doing things for that as well. One last point to make about mobile phones and how they've come on. Someone else mentioned a concert earlier. Now, I remember going to a concert or a disco when I was younger, and it was, people used to dance and have fun. And now when you go to a concert, you see a sea of phones recording and then using that with the interaction. It's just amazing how we've come on. If anyone doesn't have any questions, quick questions, we can answer them now, but if not, we will be around at the Slug and Lettuce later on to talk about mobiles. I can talk for hours about it. But anyway,
thank you very much. Thank you. I'll just take this. So obviously, Rowena and Nathan are developing a lot of the things that we are talking about, and you've seen a lot of applications, and later on in the afternoon, you'll see a lot of augmented reality stuff that we're doing, and gamification, and some of the other applications. Any questions for Rowena and Nathan? Quick questions? I think the important thing to take away is that these things are a reality now. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's happening now. And of course, it's a little bit of jumping in the big sea in the sense that a lot of these things are innovations. But I think those people who innovate, they'll be able to take the advantage and take this forward.
I mean, the thing about that as well, a point to add really, you know, you can develop for now on what people are doing now, but actually by the time you develop it, people are going to be further ahead. So you need to be thinking beyond, really. And that's one of the sort of mottos that Apple always take is, you know, we can develop for now, but that'll be ready in 6 months' time. And by that point, no one wants to use whatever they're using. So think about that. And
with Google, it was years ago they decided mobile first. It was that was a long time ago. That's it. We designed mobile first, and then everything else comes after.
Yeah, and we see that in all developments that we are now developing for the 4 screens: television, computer, iPad, or tablet, and smartphone. And everything is going smartphone, basically. And whenever you see the different sizes of the smartphones, you see everything that's going to happen there. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.